Welcome to the Disney Wedding Podcast. This show is brought to you by Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, the only guidebook and bridal organizer tailored exclusively to Disney's fairy tale weddings at Walt Disney World. I'm Carrie Hayward, and each week I feature Disney wedding updates, money-saving tips, and interviews with wedding vendors and real Disney couples. I also cover honeymoons, anniversaries, and engagements at the Disney parks and resorts. Join me now as the Disney Wedding Podcast celebrates romance at Disney destinations. Today on the Disney Wedding Podcast, I am speaking with Disney bride Laura Iaconiani about her vow renewal on the Disney Wish with a ceremony at the Atrium and a reception at the Bayou. I thought you guys would be interested to hear how she decided to have a vow renewal, how they picked this ship, how they planned everything, and how it all turned out. So welcome, Laura.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. I would love to start at the very beginning and find out how you and your husband decided that you wanted to have a vow renewal and have it on the Disney Cruise Line.
Well, we got married in Disney World 5 years ago. And after our wedding, we had a lot go on personally. And it was one of our things. We were like, that was the most amazing thing ever. In 5 years, let's relive it and do it again. So we decided to do the cruise line because I follow all of your things and I listen to all the podcasts. And we love going on Disney cruises. And the ease of planning with the cruise line was very appealing. And then once we sailed on the Disney Wish, I am a major princess fan, and it just felt very fitting to pick the Wish. So that's kind of where that came to be.
That's fantastic. What locations did you use for your wedding at Walt Disney World?
We were on the boardwalk for our ceremony and the attic for our reception.
Oh, I love the attic.
Oh, it's so good.
Now, how did your friends and family react when they found out you were having a vow renewal and it was going to be on a cruise?
Oh, they were super excited. My family, a good majority of them, are Disney files too. So they were very excited. My friends were like, oh, just let us know and we'll be there. So we kept it small, just like we did for our wedding. We had about 17 guests with us. So it kept it very intimate, but it was really exciting because several of my guests were first-time cruisers and first-time Disney cruisers. So it was a lot of fun to share the excitement of the Disney Wish with them.
Oh, that's great. Now, you mentioned that 17 were able to be there. How many people did you invite?
We invited only maybe 25.
Got it. Okay. Now, can you tell my listeners a bit about how you chose the Wish and the locations for your ceremony and your celebration?
We sailed on the Wish in September, and we were like, oh, I looked at my husband. I was like, yep, this is where we have to have our vow renewal. The Atrium, it was amazing. And as a major princess fan, I was like, I can just see myself coming down that staircase. I loved just everything about it. The colors, the chandelier, the way the ceiling interacts. It was amazing. It was pure Disney magic from the second I saw it. So we decided to do the Wish and the Atrium just based off of our very first time setting foot on there. Our other option was the Dream. That is our very favorite prior to the Wish. But once we set foot in that Atrium, I knew that was it.
That's awesome. How did you choose the Bayou for your celebration?
When we got our planning packet, that was one of the ones that they offered right away. And once I saw some pictures from other brides who had their cake cutting ceremony in the Bayou, I was like, yep, that's gorgeous. I love that. And once we were on the boat and we walked around, checked out some of the other locations, I just liked the ease of transitioning from the Atrium to the Bayou, and the Bayou's atmosphere and the decor. It was just everything I wanted it to be. It just felt like it fit.
That's fantastic. Did you guys customize the standard cruise collection package elements at all, like the bouquet or the cake?
We did customize both of those. The bouquet, yes. And I have to say, while I loved my Disney wedding bouquet, and the second that our planner handed me my bouquet, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this. And I made sure that we got it preserved. When Pablo, our fairy godfather on the boat, brought my bouquet into our stateroom, I was like, oh my gosh, it was even more beautiful than my wedding bouquet. So that was 100% worth the upgrade, in my opinion. And then we did upgrade the cake to have the nautical cake and 2 flavors on that.
Okay, what flavors did you pick?
We did the chocolate cake with the peanut butter filling, and then we did the orange almond with the French vanilla mousse. And our guests to this day still talk about how they can't pick a favorite, that they were both amazing in their own right, and it was incredible.
That's awesome. What did you do to upgrade the bouquet?
I did the premium bouquet, the Rose Elegance bouquet, and it was just one of the upgrades in the packet, the planning packet that they provided. And it was a massive, beautiful bouquet. Like, my arms got a very good workout that day.
I think it's like an Oscar. People don't realize how heavy bouquets are until they actually pick one up.
No. And when people were taking it to hold it for me, they were like, oh my gosh.
Did you guys add any land-based options on either side of your cruise, like a bridal portrait session or a dessert party?
We did not. We do have the option to do the portrait session. So my husband and I are talking about it for our anniversary next year.
Oh, that's great. Now, what did you decide to do about hair and makeup? I know that it's not always guaranteed that there's going to be a makeup artist in the salon on the sailing.
Which that was one of my biggest worries. And I had read, that they're very limited in what they can do also. So if you use them to keep it very simple. So I had contacted somebody to bring with us. And then the more I thought about it, my sister is an artist and she's very into makeup. So she was coming, so she agreed to do my makeup. And I did use Untangled Salon for my hair. And I did pick something very simple, but they did a fantastic job and the experience in the salon was great. And I got some awesome pictures in there. So I was very happy with the service that they provided. And again, having my sister do my makeup provided for some very fun, memorable getting ready moments, which was fantastic.
That's wonderful. How did you guys decide to bring your own photographers on the ship?
So we used the Roots for our wedding, and I had been a very big fan of theirs long before we got married. So when we decided to do our vow renewal, that was a no-brainer. And I had told my husband, I don't care what I have to give up. I want to bring them with us. I love them, and they did such a fantastic job for our wedding and now our vow renewal. I don't think there was a single picture that we didn't just love.
Can you give my listeners a timeline of how the vow renewal day went?
Sure. So when we got onto the ship, we got to meet with Pablo and Faith, and they walked us through our timeline, and they really stuck to it, and it helped make the day pretty seamless. From about 9 to 11 in the morning, my husband went and had a haircut and a shave, and I went down to the Untangled Salon. And then I think it was 1 o'clock the ceremony started, and I went into the top of the stairwell, and our ceremony lasted for about a half hour, so maybe 1:30. And then our cake and champagne lasted for about an hour, so probably 1:30 to about 2:30. But I felt like it was so seamless, and we got to enjoy every ounce of time. Nothing felt rushed. We didn't feel rushed out of the Bayou. It was just fantastic. And they're such a well-oiled machine that I just completely put all my faith and trust in them, and they met every expectation and exceeded some.
That's great. When you get married on the Wish, do they include a dinner at Palo or something like that?
They did include a dinner at Palo. My husband and I did ask if we could use it for the brunch on our day at sea, which we were able to do. And we were able to also add people to our table with us. So we were able to have a really nice meal with my siblings and my brother-in-law. So that was really fantastic.
That's wonderful. So when you guys were planning your vow renewal, what were some of the most important aspects where you focused your attention or your budget?
The most important for me was my dress, one of the most important. And I loved it. Again, Lazaro did my wedding dress. I had a Lazaro for the vow renewal. But the most important for me on the wish itself was I definitely wanted my ceremony in the atrium. Like I said, I fell in love with it from the second I set foot. It just felt very royal, and it's just so stunningly beautiful. One of the things I hadn't thought about when I picked the atrium, and it came up when I was talking with the Roots about our ceremony, was which way our ceremony would face, either the stage or the staircase. And the stage is beautiful, but it does have that big blue backdrop. So it would kind of feel to me, it would feel a little boxy for the pictures. And I wanted the openness and to get the full beauty of that atrium with the staircase. So we did select to have our ceremony facing from the staircase. And one of the most important aspects for me was our photography and bringing the Roots with us.
Got it. And that's an interesting point, because I don't think I've seen a wedding yet on the Wish where they didn't use the stage. So that's a good point, though, that it really is a different experience depending on which one you pick.
It's a completely different feel, yeah. We have some pictures with the stage, and they're beautiful, but I felt like to just experience the whole openness of that atrium was to do it from the staircase.
Got it. Okay. Were there any aspects that were less important where you saved your money or just your effort?
So because it was our vow renewal, and not that we weren't excited and we loved the whole planning process, but the Disney Cruise Line just makes it so easy that we weren't really necessarily concerned with adding extra floral, again, because the atrium is just so gorgeous. I didn't feel like it needed anything to take away from the natural grandness of that area. So we didn't really do any extra floral or decorations. And same for when you go into the Bayou, because you have all that gorgeous green and the flowers from the ceiling. So we really didn't go too far off in adding anything. The only thing that we chose to upgrade was the bouquet and our cake to the nautical cake with the 2 flavors.
Got it. Okay. So what ended up being your favorite memory of your vow renewal?
One of my very favorite moments was something that we hadn't planned. It hadn't been thought of. I had my sisters in my house one day, and we were in my kitchen and we were baking. And one of my sisters said, hey, I think I know what we should do for when you walk down the aisle. And I said, well, what's that? And she said, well, I think we should sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And I'll be Timon and Megan will be Pumbaa. And they started singing, and they did the whole introduction part, and I couldn't stop laughing. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to see if they'll let us do that. So you can't back out. And they were like, oh, no, we won't back out. So when we got on board and we met with Pablo, I had asked him, hey, is it possible? I said, my sisters might kill me. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if they were joking. But is it possible for them to sing as I walk down the aisle? And he was like, I don't think we've ever done that, but I don't see why not. I'll see what I can do, what song. And he got all the information, and they were good to go. They got the green light to sing. So they got to go practice in Nightingales, and they sang me down the aisle, and it was just the most amazing moment ever. It was funny. It made me tear up at the same time. It was just great.
That's awesome. Now, did anything go wrong or just not turn out like you expected?
No, I cannot say that there was anything that went wrong or anything that I was panicked about. It was a seamless experience.
Wonderful. Is there anything that seemed like a big deal beforehand or you were worried about, and then it turned out not to be a big deal?
I think I was worried about the timeline, and I was worried about making sure. Originally, I was very worried about making sure everybody was enjoying themselves. But once we got on board and everybody got settled and they were able to go and explore and enjoy their own time, and we were able to meet up for certain things and dinner. And once I met with Pablo and met with the Roots to get the timeline down, and once the day started, I think all those worries just went away.
That's great. Is there anything you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
I think the only thing I would have done differently was probably do a longer cruise, because we did a 4-night and I just felt like I didn't get to... I enjoyed myself. I had a fantastic time, but I felt like I was trying to be in a million different places at one time, and it kind of felt like a blur, but as your wedding day does. So I think I would probably just build in a longer cruise so there's time, a little more time to unplug.
That's a great tip. Do you have any other tips or advice for future Disney couples?
I think when it comes to, again, dealing with the cruise line, they are just fantastic, and it's just such a smooth process that if you think your request or question is like off the wall crazy, just ask anyway, because they will do what they can to make it happen. And they were just a fantastic, fantastic group to work with.
That's great. Well, Laura, I think you've offered a lot of great tips and advice for anyone who's interested in getting married or having a vow renewal on the Disney Cruise Line, and I appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Carrie Hayward, inviting you to join me again next week for another episode of the Disney Wedding Podcast. Past shows and tons of photos for each episode are available on my website, DisneyWeddingPodcast.com, or listen in your favorite podcast app. And for instant answers to all your Walt Disney World wedding questions, check out Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, available as an interactive ebook with continual free updates at fairytaleweddingsguide.com.